I feel like it is outright wickedness to want to defame anybody. Defamation in Nigeria is a crime. Vet your stories very well. When we get our stories, we wash them like the vegetables that we harvested from our garden to be sure that we are not pushing the wrong narrative out there in the public domain. From Daily Faro to me, to VDM, to Shorori, to currently seeking, amongst so many other internet sensations, social media influencers, media practitioners, and even journalists have all they all have one thing in common. And what's that thing? It's either defamation or cyberbullying or cyber stalking, which is in contravention to the defamatory laws and the cyber crime acts. Welcome to another episode of the Fifth Estate live on Akweya TV with yours truly, Hope Williams. It's another wonderful week to deal with the sun in Abuja. Trust me, the sun in Abuja, the distance from Abuja to the sun is a trackable distance, but because we are Abuja people, we can just pay like 5 naira to get there because tell me why it feels like the sun is shining directly on my head. Explain to me. Anyways, that's on the side. Now let's talk defamation. Recently on social media, there's been a lot of drama, left, right, center, front, back, up, down. There's VDM versus Nedu of the Honest Bunch. Yeah. So DeeOne, a one-time BB Ninja contestant, went on the Honest Bunch and made some bold statements calling VDM out on some things. So for those of you who do not know VDM, VDM is very dark man. Yes. So called him out on some things. And instead of VDM to go for D1 that called him out, he went for Nedu and in the process dragged some other ladies who were not even part of the conversation into it, accusing them of so many things like sex for fame and all of that. One of the ladies, Jojo, came out, she cried, did a video, and she was very pained.
I'm
Now,
crying because I've worked so hard for my brand. Like I've worked so hard for my brand, for somebody from nowhere to take the glory. Like I've worked so hard. People that know me, they know. I know they rest. I know they rest. If I know they shoot Facebook and they shoot Instagram, if I know they shoot Instagram and they shoot TikTok, like I'm always shooting. I'm always shooting. I know they rest. They from nowhere. If you want to tag my glory to somebody else, like you want to give my glory to Nedu, like I mean Nedu of all people, somebody that has not contributed anything in my life, somebody that has not helped me before, somebody that has not helped me. Have you ever seen Nedu post me on his story or post me on his page? Have you ever seen him post me? I've only done 2 skits with Nedu, 2 skits all my life, 2 skits. Very dark man, I've never offended you before. Like I used to be your fan. I've never done anything. You've never seen my comment anywhere to say bad about you. At least you should have reached out to me to ask me or to come to me. You should have come to me, you should have reached out. Why are you from nowhere? You want to wait what I've worked for years. From nowhere. This is not fair. This is not fair.
now the question is, what did VDM do wrong? Aha, you got it. So for Jojo coming out to cry and deny all of those allegations, it means that VDM has defamed her. Do you get? Good. So that brings us to the definition of defamation. So, defamation, according to the Nigerian law, is an act of publicizing or publishing or telling a story in any format whatsoever, whether electronically, on print, that is paper, telling any false story with an intent to hurt, ridicule, or undermine or cause harm to an individual. So this means that when you say something or you publish something on the newspaper or you say something on television or on social media that is not true against somebody with an intention to make that person um an an object of ridicule or mockery, or to ruin the person's reputation, or to cause harm to the person, you have defamed that person. Now, why I said the laws of defamation in Nigeria and the Cyber Crime Act goes hand in hand is because on the Cyber Crime Act, when you make certain publications on social media or on the internet against somebody with this same intention to harm the individual, you have committed the cyber crime. You have committed a cyber crime. So you have things like cyber bullying, cyber stalking, and stuff like that. So somehow, um, defamation and cyber crime go like side by side, right? Now, what you need to know also is that these things are punishable under the law. While defamation can be treated as either a civil matter or a criminal matter, it is still punishable under the law. You can either go in for 1 year or you go in for 2 years. When I say go in, I mean kiri kiri. You go sanko, go chill, go calm down first. Yes. And that also applies to the cyber crime. You can either go in for as low as 1 year or as much as 5, 7 years. It depends on the magnitude of the crime. And also there are fines too attached to this. The fine can go from as low as 1 million to as much as the the judge handling your case decides to punish you for being who you are. Because I feel like it is outright wickedness to want to defame anybody. If you have something against someone and you know you will not tell the truth, why come on social media? I, for one, on this issue between DeeOne and Nedu, I am still asking, how did these ladies come into the conversation? It means that Jojo can sue VDM for defamation because he made a public statement about her without proof. Everything we heard was hearsay. Oh, Nedu said, Nedu told me that. They're all hearsays. There's no facts. There's no video, there's no audio, there's no picture, there's no evidence to prove this. And you are coming out to make bold statements about an individual. These are part of the reasons why the likes of Dele Farotimi still has a court matter with Afe Babalola, with a lot of other persons where he said things about the judicial caucus that we have. He said a lot of things about all the underground dealings that happens in the judiciary, and he mentioned a lot of names. And of course, we all know that he was arrested and was taken to court, stayed in custody for months before he was, released on bail. Okay. But he still has a court matter, still on this issue on defamation. While VDM, on the other hand, has a matter again with the Falaners, where he linked them to Bobrisky. This was also last year. The matter is still in court. Showore, of course, even recently has issues with the Nigerian police when he made some bold statements about the IG of police. But now, wow, shey una need a fear for this country. Fear no dey our eye again for this Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are no longer afraid because how will you make some bold statements against a whole IG of police for this Federal Republic of Nigeria? You make such a bold statement and you no get evidence? Police no dey work, police no dey work. You never find police trouble. If you find police trouble, you go know say for inside that police bar, they get lawyers. When policeman quote law give you, okay, make una dey try. With the coming of social media, which is why people like me dey campaign say make dem regulate our social media con ten t. The way wey we don dey handle our social media for dis country, e reach make dem regulate us. Because the recent trend on social media is people just wake up and they make posts, videos, texts, photos, or even audios and claim so many things against other individuals without facts. They make bold statements without facts. And I am wondering, is it that people think this is fun? That you intentionally want to come against an individual, you want to ruin an individual, or you want to put them up, set them up for drugs, or you want to draw traffic to your page, and you think it's okay to do that at the expense of another person? Anyways, as I said earlier, defamation in Nigeria is a crime. According to Section 375 of the Code, Criminal Act, if you defame somebody, if you make any publication against somebody, and that publication you made has an iota of defamation in it against that person, you have committed a misdemeanor and you can go to jail for 1 year. Now, if you now make a publication knowing within yourself, by yourself and of yourself, that thing you want to publish or that thing you want to post is a lie, as in you know it is false, yet you still published it, you will go to jail for 2 years. 2 solid concrete years. You go and drink garri first. Garri and colored water, you will drink it first. However, before we can say a publication is defamatory, there are 5 elements to show that a publication is defamatory. Number 1 is that content, that material was made public. That is, it was put out there. So public, there's no specific number of public. There's no specific number of what a public can be, as long as there's a third party involved in this. So that means the third party can be your social media, the third party can be the TV, the third party can be your radio, a third party can be the newspaper, a magazine, a school publication, whatever. But as long as that material was put out in public, number 1, that's an element of defamation. Number 2, as long as you can demonstrate that that material is defamatory. So this means that the person who is complaining or the person who is suing that they have been defamed has to prove. Do you get? Now, is that the dicey thing in this matter of defamation? Because now you where they complain, say person don't spoil your name. Now you need to prove, say truly the person spoil your name. So you have to, number 1, prove that that material was made public. 2, you have to prove that that material was actually defamatory. They don't publish something where you know talk or something where you know do inside that material with an intention to harm you. Number 3, you have to prove that there was a harm or an injury done. So in this matter of injury, no be wound, Wetin dis matter for injury mean is that you have to prove that people heard it, they made mockery of you, your career or your job suffered, probably you were sacked from your workplace because of it, or your landlord felt like, I cannot have somebody like you as my tenant, because pack your things and leave my compound, or you were walking along the street and people were making harsh comments towards you or making mockery of you and all of that. So you have to prove that truly your reputation or your but you just have to prove that an injury was done either at your workplace or your business place. You just have to prove that an injury was done. 4, you have to also prove that the person you are suing is the person that committed that act of defamation. So, how is that? It is possible that you are suing Mr. A for defamation, but you have to prove that that defamation that you are complaining about, that it's Mr. A gun that committed it, so you don't sue the wrong person. Then you also have to show that this material was published. So, before you wake up and say you have been defamed, you must ensure that your situation answers all of these questions. Was it made public? Was there any iota of defamation in all of this? The person I am pointing my fingers at, was it the person gone that committed that offense? How am I sure that this is defamation? It shouldn't be that, oh, I said something and I was misquoted. Oh. It should be that, yes, they really defamed me as per I did not say it and they said I said it. Or I did not do it and they said I did it. Ehen. And that brings us to the point where we say, vet your stories very well. 2 weeks ago on this same show, when we get our stories, we wash them like the vegetables that we harvested from our garden to be sure that we are not pushing the wrong narrative out there in the public domain. The vegetables that we harvested from our garden to be sure that we are not pushing the wrong narrative out there in the public domain. So, as media professionals, vet your stories very well. However, we would also have a lawyer give us in-depth or well-detailed information on the difference and the similarity between the laws of defamation and the Cybercrime Acts as amended.
Defamation is an act of imputing words or actions that tends to ridicule or lower the character, integrity, or personality of a person in the eyes of a right-thinking person or the public. It entails that Mr. A made assertions or publications that are unfounded or false about Mr. B, which assertions are seen by third parties to have occasioned hatred or ridicule to the person of Mr. B. Also, defamation can be of two types, that is, can be libel or slander. It is libel where the assertion made is in a permanent form, that is, it is written, and it is slander where it is in a spoken form. Defamation is a creation of the statute, like earlier said, and these statutes with respect to Nigeria include Criminal Code Act, the Criminal Code laws of the various states, the Penal Code Act, the Cybercrime Act, and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. For a person to claim that he has been defamed, he has a onerous burden to prove that those words that are published are false, and those false assertions has injured his reputation and has lowered his character and integrity in the eyes of the public. The purport is that not that the defamatory words are being heard or seen by the entire world. One or two persons enough is essential or is enough to prove that a third party has had and has acted on the defamatory word. Also, it needs to be stated that the defamation laws give the person who have been alleged to have defamed the other the right to some defenses, which include fair comments, statement of truth, where such statements are given pursuant to a court order, or where the person that gave the defamatory word or the supposed defamatory words is enjoying some qualified privileges. It is necessary to state that in Nigeria, some states have domesticated defamation into their state laws, and hence some have removed it from their criminal code. Therefore, it is not criminal in some states. But nonetheless, in Nigeria as a whole, the law still allows that defamation is both a crime and civil. Cybercrime, on the other hand, is a creation of the federal legislation or national legislation, which is practically similar to defamation. However, it expands the frontiers of the old legislation that regulates defamation in that it brings in acts that may have been occasioned or that may have occurred in the use of electronic devices. Therefore, if acts are communicated not by spoken words or not in writing, but through electronic transmissions, and those words or acts are defamatory in nature, one can easily come under the Cybercrime Act. That's one of the differences between defamation and cybercrime. Now, a look at section 22 to 24 of the Cybercrime Act gives a clear view of this. Another major difference in terms of defamation in relation to the old laws, when we talk about penal code and criminal codes, and the Cybercrime Act, is that there is a wider punishment or a larger punishment under the Cybercrime Act than under the criminal code and penal code. So basically, under the Cybercrime Act, you have punishment going as far as 7 million, 2 years, while under the criminal code and penal code, we have punishment that can go 3 months, 6 months, and maybe punishment of monetary punishment of maybe 500 naira, 200 naira. The fact that media practitioners are the ones in the middle of dissemination, or one of the ones in the middle of dissemination of information and news, places them on the edge when it comes to reporting. Hence, a failure to have a proper and accurate fact-checking of their stories, or deliberately making false assertions in their stories, will definitely expose them to answer questions on defamation or cybercrime, where the victim of such stories is of the opinion that he or she has been cyberbullied or defamed. Therefore, where media practitioners are to engage or conduct in a story, they have a duty to ensure that they have accurate information about the story they want to disseminate to the public, and not just want to, in a rush, disseminate this news or story without fact checking themselves, because this is very, very dangerous. Bear in mind that these days that media practitioners are in some instances allowed to shield the identity of the source of their information. So basically, if media practitioners are not in the haste of rushing to make headlines or a trembling news headline, they go into fact checking the news or the information they have, there will be that thin chances of being brought in under being defamatory, or their news being defamatory, or violating the provisions of cyberbullying under the Cybercrime Act.
Thank you for staying tuned so far on the Fifth Estate Live on Akweya TV. If you're just joining, this is the Fifth Estate Live on Akweya TV, where we discuss issues that affects our development as individuals and as a society. And these issues could be history, art, and culture, and also trending social issues. But they are issues that affects our development as individuals and as a society. Don't forget to like and share this video, and also follow us on all our social media platforms. Do well to read very interesting news stories on the Akweya TV website. Yes. Until we come your way again next week, I am Hope Williams and I'm saying, do have a pleasant day. However, ensure that you don't defame anybody in the line of your job or your day-to-day activities, because kiri kiri go show if you don't have proof that the statement you're putting out in public is actually true. If you know sure, you better not talk. See you guys next week. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.